Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to look at how to fill the MBA CET 2025 application form. Now, before we begin, there are a few things that I wanted to share. So, first things first, the registration has already started. It started on the 25th December and it will continue till 25th Jan. So, you have roughly a month. So, at the time of recording this video, from now on, you have roughly a month before you can register for the Maharashtra MBA CET. To begin your registration process, you have to go to this website, which is cetcell.mahacet.org. Now, once you visit this website, on this website, you'll be able to see a screen like this, which is basically the schedule of all the things that are going to happen. So here you will keep on seeing a lot of notices and updates, etc. from the CET cell. The one that is relevant to you at this point of time for the ones who are applying for the Maharashtra MBA CET is the number 4 and number 5. Now, of course, this number may change by the time you are watching this video, but this is what you should be looking at. So the first one is the schedule. So they have mentioned when the CET is going to be conducted and so on and so forth. And the process has started. So this is a link. So at the right end of this particular table, you're going to see two things. There's a PDF, which is what you saw on the previous slide. And then there is a link. You have to click on that link and then begin your application process. Now, I want to cover a few frequently asked questions before we move forward, because I'm sure that a lot of you are watching this video have questions and concerns in terms of whether you should be applying in the first place or not. So these are some of the commonly asked questions. Number one is, can non-Maharashtra candidates take the Maharashtra MBA CET? The answer to that question is yes, you can take the CET. CET is open to anybody, whether you are from Maharashtra or you're not from Maharashtra. However, one thing that you have to keep in mind is how many seats are you competing for? So that is the second question as to how many seats can non-Maharashtra students or candidates claim. The number for that is 15%. So in every college which is falling under the purview of the Maharashtra CET cell, you have out of 100% seats, 15% seats are reserved for all India candidates. Now for these all India candidates, basically anybody, whether you are a state candidate or not a state candidate, you can compete, which means that 15% of the seats, the sanctioned intake, basically that is what a non-Maharashtra student can compete for. The third thing is, what other test should I take? Because CET is not the only test that they accept for these all India seats. So the 15% all India seats that you have, they also accept some of the other tests. So depending on what test you're planning to take, I would suggest that you also add this to your list. So which is, you definitely take the CET. In addition to that, you take the CMAT, MAT and ATMA. Because in the past, these scores have also been accepted. MAT ATMA is something that we'll get to know only at a later point of time. But till last year, they have been accepting these scores, and that is why I would strongly recommend that all of you also look at taking either the CMAT, MAT, ATMA, or if possible, you can take all of them and then submit your best score when it comes to the All India seats. The next question that students have is whether there will be any GDPA round. So what is the admission process? So there won't be any GDPA round. So the answer to that question, whether there will be GDPA rounds, is no. You're not going to have any GDPA round. The way it works is, for the MMS admissions, which is the Master of Management Studies, the CET score or the test score, whether it is CMAT, MAT, ATMA, etc., the test score is the important component. It doesn't matter what you do after that, so there's no GDPA, etc. It's just the written test score basis which the admission is conducted. The next question is regarding category. So whether the category or the minority reservation is applicable to everybody or not, the answer to that question is it is applicable only for Maharashtra candidates. So if you are somebody who does not fit into any of the definitions of Maharashtra candidate, and there are multiple such definitions, if you cannot put your candidature as a Maharashtra state candidate, you will not be able to use the category or the minority certificate that you have. And finally, the question on the difference between MMS and PGDM. So technically there isn't much of a difference. A lot of colleges have two programs, MMS and PGDM. The MMS admission is conducted through the CET centralized admission process, whereas the PGDM admission process is conducted by the institute directly. So think of it this way, that MMS is something which is a university governed program, whereas PGDM is a program governed by that specific institute. And that is why my answer to that question is that the brand name of the institute matters and not the nomenclature. So it's not really about whether you're doing MMS program or a PGDM program. As long as you're doing it from a good institute, you should not have a problem. Ultimately, MMS is a degree which is given by the university, whereas PGDM is a private program which is offered by that respective institute. So these are some of the questions. I thought I'll answer them before we get into the entire application process. So let's now move on to the application, having answered all these questions. But if you still have any questions, feel free to ask it in the comment section and I'll try and get back as early as possible. Now let's begin the application process, and it's going to be a fairly long video, so I will suggest that you'll have to sort of bear with me for another maybe 20 minutes or so, because the process is indeed quite lengthy. So what you need to do is, firstly you start on the website that I mentioned, you click there and you will see the screen like this. So on this screen you will be clicking here, which is the new user registration, because we are creating our account for the very first time. All subsequent logins will happen through the registered email ID and password. Now once you click on the register button, these are the details that they will ask you. Please note that you will not be able to change this once you have entered it, and that is why be very careful while creating your account. You start with first name and middle name. So here they have mentioned it should be as per SSC HSC mark sheet, and the last name also in the same manner. So first name, middle name, don't make the mistake. In a hurry, a lot of people will end up putting only the first name the way they are used to, but this is first name and middle name, and then last name to be entered separately. Now they have mentioned that if your full name only consists of one word without surname, please enter a dot in this field. So they have explicitly mentioned that if you don't have a surname, you can enter it there. Then your email ID and password. Regarding password, there are some specifications. I hope by now you have filled multiple forms. You should be able to take care of this in a very simple manner. Then confirm password, put the same thing again and enter your date of birth. Once you're done, you have basically created your account. Okay. So at the end of this, you basically just submit, and after you submit, it will ask you a few more questions. So now you have just created your account. You haven't actually started filling the form. So this is the screen where you start entering the user information. So the first thing that they ask for is the mobile number, and you also need to enter your father's name, mother's name, gender, religion, region, mother tongue and nationality. Now some of these questions are, as you can see, these are all compulsory questions. At a late on the other screen that you have, you will have a few questions that are not mandatory. You can choose not to submit some of those questions, but here everything is mandatory. You fill this applicable information and move forward. So once you have entered this information, again please be very careful, because even on the previous slide, the questions that you have, once you enter it and submit, you will not be able to edit it. Okay, so I'll show you where exactly it will appear in your form. But whatever you enter here, be very careful about that. Don't make any mistakes. Then they have the question on annual family income, and there's a question on marital status. Okay. After that, there's a question on permanent address. Again, just mention the address. Straightforward, nothing complicated here. Address line 1 and 2 is mandatory, 3 is optional. You can decide to skip it. Enter state, district and taluka, and you can move forward. Then there's a question on address for correspondence. If it is same, you can simply click here, which is same as permanent address, and then you don't have to enter any information. But if it is different, you can always enter another address as well. Then comes the part which is very crucial, and please don't make any mistakes here, because if you make mistake, not possible to rectify. You will have to create a new account with another email ID and mobile number if you end up making mistake here. So the question that they have asked is, are you domiciled in the state of Maharashtra? Which means, do you have a domicile certificate? Now, you may be domiciled at this point of time, but you do not have a certificate. In that case, I would suggest that you get a certificate done. So I have a very simple recommendation to anybody who is watching this video. If you are eligible to get a Maharashtra domicile certificate, please get it done. Now, some of you may think that I was born in Maharashtra, I have done schooling in Maharashtra. Why do I need to have a domicile certificate? It's just another identity proof. I would say please get it done, because though it is just another proof, it will come very handy. Okay, so rather than not having it, it's better to have it. Now those of you who, let's say, may not have done your education in Maharashtra, but because of the definitions that are there, you may be qualifying to get a domicile certificate. For that, please check out the government website. So Maharashtra government has a nice website on which you can check the eligibility first of all, and even apply for the domicile certificate. If you apply, you can expect to get it within 15 to 20 days if all the documentation is clear. So for everybody, I would suggest that if you are eligible, please make sure that you get the domicile certificate done. Again, it's not mandatory. For people who are born in Maharashtra, your entire education has happened in Maharashtra, you don't need to have this, but it's good to have. That's where I'll leave it. It's a yes or no questions. You just have to say whether whether you are domiciled or you're not domiciled. Then, are you person with disability? That's again a question, yes, no. Then you have SSC, passing year and the percentage, again simple straightforward thing. Up to 2 decimal places are allowed, so you can enter that if you want. Then SSC equivalent board and school state. After this, there's a question on 12th standard, whether you are appearing for 12th in your 20 in the year 25. Clearly, for those of you who are planning to apply for the Maharashtra MBA CET, that won't be the case. So in that case, you will say no, right? Now, once you select no, then it will ask you again some follow-up questions are there. So let me take you through these follow-up questions. So for HSC, the question is diploma passing year, then which is the board that you have, percentage or CGPA, the marks type, then whatever marks obtained, marks out of, because I selected percentage, it is asking me marks obtained and marks out of, and then it will auto calculate the percentage. So for 10th, it doesn't auto calculate anywhere, but for 12th, it does. So slightly different way in which the information has been asked. Then once you enter all of this information, you would have completed creating your profile. Does that mean that you have completed your application form? No, the application form is very long, as I mentioned. So what you need to do is you will see a screen like this. So now your account has got created with some basic user information. You will have to click on CET registration. Now once you click on CET registration, again be very careful, because this is a stage where people end up making mistakes. In a hurry, they end up applying to some other CET, and we have seen this happen in the past. So be careful and select this option, which is MAH MBA MMS CET 2025. Okay, so you click on this, you will see a register now button, and once you click, you will be taken to a different website. Now this website is mbacet2025.mahscet.org. On this website, now because you are getting redirected from the previous page, you don't have to log in again. So you will see information, you can go through it, it's a long information. I'm not going to walk you through all of this, but just read it once, that should suffice. Then comes the personal details. Now because you had already entered it some time back, you won't have to enter it again. So all of this is going to be auto-filled and you will not be able to edit it. So that is why I mentioned some time back that be careful while creating your user account, because whatever you enter there, once you submit, it's not possible to edit. So all of these fields will be populated, pre-populated. You will not be able to edit it. So it will show you the information that you entered at the time of registration, starting from candidate's name, father's name, mother's name, gender, confirm your gender, marital status, date of birth, religion, region, annual income, mother tongue, and nationality. Okay, so whatever entered previously, it will just be shown to you at this point of time. Moving on to the next one, which is correspondence address. Again, whatever you had entered, you will see that again here. You don't have to do anything. It will also show you your mobile number, email ID, and so on. And then it will ask you for a security pin. So you'll see a security pin here. You put that, and that's it, right? So you enter it here. After you're done, you will get an OTP, right? So your OTP will be sent to the mobile number, not to your email ID. On the mobile number, you get an OTP, you enter it here, verify it, and then you see a screen which looks like this. So here it will show you your application number. I have of course hidden it, but you will get a confirmation with the application number. This application number is something that will be used throughout the process. So that is why it's important that you write it down somewhere. In fact, they've also mentioned it as the first note, that note down the system generated application number. Okay. Then it shows proceed to complete application form. So far we have done two things. We created the account, then we submitted the basic user information, and we verified the mobile number. Now we have received the application number. From here on, you will actually start filling the rest of the form. Okay, so now what it will do is it will show you a screen like this with 9 steps. So this is the main dashboard that you have. You're going to see 9 steps. So far we have only completed step 1, which is the registration and the personal details. Okay, we still have a lot of things to do. Let's move on to the step 2, which is domicile and category details. Now regarding domicile, the first question that they have asked is this, whether you are domiciled in the state of Maharashtra or not. As I mentioned, whatever you entered on the previous screen, you will not be able to change it here. Okay, so if you had entered yes there, it will automatically show yes, and then category details. So I'm going to show you for different categories how it will look. I've just taken one of the categories as an example, but for other categories, it's more or less the same. So it shows category of candidate. You have to select the category, and the follow-up question is, are you person with disability? Depending on what you select here in category, there will be other set of questions that you need to answer, which I will show. Do you belong to minority? Again, a yes no question. I had selected no that point of time, that's why it is pre-populated. I cannot change it. And then it shows, are you orphan? Again, it's a yes no question. If you select yes for this, you need to give a documentation. So they have given a format, pro forma has been given, and you need to submit that. Okay, so now what I've done is I've selected a category. For the purpose of example, I've chosen OBC here. And there the follow-up questions are these. So select caste to which you belong. So which caste within OBC. Then do you have the caste certificate? Now here there are multiple options. The first option is available, applied but not received, and not applied. Okay, so these are the three options that you have. Now you may have the certificate, in which case you say available. If you don't have the certificate, I strongly recommend that you start your application process right away. See, because the deadline to submit this is 25th Jan. At the time of recording this video, we still have roughly a month, which means that even if you apply, you will be able to get that certificate. If you select applied but not received, you will have to enter the whatever the receipt number that is there. If it is available, you enter the caste certificate number. If it is applied but not received, you enter the application receipt number or application number. If you have not applied, then you select not applied. Now the document has to be submitted at the time of centralized admission process. So even if you apply it, you don't get it by the time CET is conducted or before the deadline, registration deadline, it's still okay. But you need to submit that document at the time of centralized admission process, which is conducted after CET result. So that is why those of you are eligible to get any sort of category certificate, I would suggest that you apply it right now, put that as the application number that they ask, and that's about it. Okay. Alright, then you have the caste validity. So again, they mention that you have to submit the validity certificate as well, and whether the non-creamy layer certificate is valid up to 31st March 2026. Okay. Then the disability question, which was there on the previous screen as well. Again, if you select disability, you will have to give the required documentation that is there. Now let me show you for open, how does it look, and if you end up selecting EWS, then how it will appear. So let's say if I select open, it asks for the annual family income and then whether you belong to EWS or not. Now let's say if you select yes, it shows that click here for required format of Proforma 5, which is to be uploaded during CAP. So you don't have to have it right now. You can upload it at a later point of time, which is after CET result, once the centralized admission process begins. Then you have to enter caste name. You have to select the EWS certificate. Again, the same set of options are there. Available, applied but not received, not applied. As mentioned, if you are eligible to get EWS, make sure that you apply for the certificate so that you can choose this and then enter the application number. Okay. So this is for the category, very, very important section. Please don't make any mistake in this. Okay. Moving on to the qualification details. Now this is pre-populated, so there is nothing that can be done at this point of time. For both SSC and HSC, the 10th and the 12th standard, it will show you what you had entered previously. There is no scope to edit this out. Okay. Then comes the graduation details. Now regarding graduation, very important thing, there are two options, passed or appearing. If you end up selecting appearing, they don't ask you for marks. They just ask you course duration 3, 4, 5, 6 and the stream, so BCom, BSc, BE and so on. If you select passed, it asks for the graduation passing year. Let's say if I select 25, course duration I can enter, then the degree, marks type, so percentage, CGPA, whatever, and then the obtained out of, it auto calculates percentage, and you have to select the awarded class. So first class with distinction and things like that. Okay. Again, fairly straightforward. Once you're done, you can click on save and proceed. The next section is going to be the city preference or the center preference. Now here the good thing is they are given 4 choices. So you can select preference 1, 2, 3 and 4. The moment you select one of the preferences, it goes out of the options that you have for the next preference. For those of you who are planning to take it from outside Maharashtra, these are the cities from where you can take it. So you have a lot of options. You have Patna, New Delhi, Jammu, Bengaluru, Jaipur, Lucknow, Raipur, Ahmedabad, Ranchi, Bhopal, Hyderabad and Kolkata. Okay, so those of you who are not from Maharashtra planning to take the CET, these are the test city preferences that are available. Okay, select the one that is nearest to you and then the second preference and so on. It's mandatory to put all 4 preferences. Okay. With this, you have reached sort of midway in the entire form. The next part is the photograph and signature. Again, very straightforward, just follow the guidelines that they have mentioned. So here they have mentioned that the photo signature should be JPG, JPEG or PNG format. Just stick to that. There is a file size limit as well. So maximum file size limits have been given for both photograph signature and the proof of identity. So proof of identity can be anything, Aadhaar, PAN and things like that. Photo and signature, just ensure that it is clearly visible when you upload it. So one common thing that we have seen as an error that happens in a lot of cases is people enter it or upload it in a rotated format. So just ensure that you upload it in the correct format and make sure that it looks clear. So once you upload, you will be able to see a preview of that and just check if the preview is fine. If not, you can always upload the document again. So complete these 2 sections, photograph and signature and proof of identity. So now we have reached till step 6. We have completed the first 6 steps of the form. We still have 3 steps remaining. Now what are these 7? The 7th step that you have is preview and validate the information. So at this stage, you will go through all the things that you have entered in your form and you will check whether everything has been correctly entered or not. Okay. Make sure that you actually follow this rather than just simply clicking on yes, everything is fine and then moving on to the next step. So go through all the details that you have mentioned so far. Once done, the only thing then remains is paying the application fees, which is step 8. So it will show you the details that you have mentioned. So whether you are Maharashtra candidate or not, what's your category, whether you applied for EWS or not, and then whether the disability status is applicable or not. Basis all of this, it will show you what is the application fee that you need to pay. So if I'm not wrong, for the reserved candidates, it is 1000. For open candidates, it is 1200. So you select all of this. At the bottom, you'll have to put a tick here. And once you do that, you will be directed to the payment gateway. You complete the payment process and then you are done with the application. So once you are done with the application, you are going to see green everywhere. And the last step is also important, which is printing the application form. So make sure that you do that also. I know some of you may be thinking, why do I need to do it? But do it, keep that as a copy because it may be required at a later point of time. Okay, so please also print the application form. Keep it with you, you can just save it as a PDF and that should be it. But once you're done, all of this is going to be green, right? So you've completed all the steps that are there and you're also going to get a mail confirmation. So this is how the mail confirmation looks. It will show that your registration is successful for CET 25, dear dash dash your name and your application form has been submitted successfully. So once you do all of this, it's going to be like a marathon thing where it will take a lot of time for you to finish. But once you're done, you're completed your MBA CET 25 application. So I hope this video has helped you. If you have any questions, and I'm sure you're going to have questions, let me know your questions in the comment section. I hope this has helped you and wish all of you all the best. Happy prepping and I'll see you very soon. Bye.